King Solomon landed in the barn. I had to unload it with the truck and actually bring it into the barn. It's taken everything within me not to call the seller and literally rip him a new one, because I was told I was getting a bike that was put together. I was being told that I was getting a complete bike, and what he meant by complete was it was completely there in pieces. Well, it's King Solomon, all right. Immediately as I get into the pallet, I'm already missing things. First thing I'm missing is the front end. Now, you cannot ride a motorcycle without a front end. That is now called a unicycle, and I don't ride unicycles, I ride motorcycles. Second problem is there are no tins. Gas tank, oil tank, rear fender, gone, non-existent. So we've gone through the parts, we've assessed them, and now I've got to start polishing, cleaning, and prepping to actually hopefully put this thing back together. I don't want to do it cheapy. I don't want to do it just with chrome polish. I actually want to do it the right way. So using the soft jeweler's rouge, and I'm actually polishing each piece, not once, but twice. All of this stuff has just been dingy and forgotten. It sat out in Florida, so it's ugly and nasty. So just been polishing and polishing and polishing. Got to clean this up before I ever get started, because I don't want to take a dirty part, I don't want to take a dingy bolt, and I don't want to put it back on. The nice thing is I'm also able to inspect them. I'm able to check the threads, I'm able to check the quality of the parts, not just bolts. I know I'm talking bolts, but we polished all of the fittings. We polished all of the hardware, the exhaust, the seat pan itself, you name it. I've been polishing and cleaning it, and I am now to the point where everything is clean, everything is prepped, it's all been laid out, it's all been categorized. It's now time to put it all back on the bike. And let's hope I haven't lost anything.
My name's Lionel Gammon, I live in northern Utah, and I have a story to tell you.
Last season on Barnyard Bike, you came with me on my epic journey as I found my grandfather's 1988 Harley Davidson Softail that had been long since forgotten and left in the barn. Put it back together. We stripped it all the way down and worked with the industry's greatest builders and manufacturers to put this bike back. Well, I'm glutton for punishment, and I'm doing it again. This time I have found a motorcycle that was built by a world-renowned builder. Now we're taking his bike that was once lost and forgotten, and we're gonna put it back on the road. So join me as I take the adventure of my life, building a motorcycle and raising my 3 boys to become men. This is season 2 of Barnyard Bike.
What if the motorcycle accident wasn't my fault?
Call Law Tigers.
What if I can't get this jacket to close for some strange reason?
Don't call Law Tigers.
What if they rear-ended me and now I'm injured?
Definitely call Law Tigers.
The suit fit me perfect at prom.
That was decades ago. Don't call Law Tigers.
Oh, great!
Injured in a motorcycle accident? Call Law Tigers before you call your insurance company. Law Tigers, America's motorcycle lawyers.
You know, people always talk about expensive sports and hobbies. I got a friend of mine who, his son plays hockey. I'm not bagging any sport, not bagging hockey. It's a great sport. I think it teaches kids a lot of responsibility and grit. But they complain about how expensive it is. Listen, there's nothing more expensive than equine and rodeo. And of course, my two boys, well, my three boys, love rodeo. So that means I get high bills. And one bill right now is literally hay. Hay costs are through the roof. So we're actually headed up into a little town called Lewiston. These bales I like to feed are about 850 to 900 pounds each. So they're actually 3 feet wide, 3 feet tall, 8 feet long. And I'll drop a bale like that in the pasture with a little device that we call a slow feeder that slow feeds the hay to them. What that means is a horse is naturally a grazing animal. And in my personal opinion, we as humans have ruined horses by just pitching a flake of hay to them and letting them gourd themselves and eat. So I try to take our animals the right way. They actually have to constantly be grazing through this net, picking out the hay to eat all day, every day. So it kind of feels weird to look out there and see my horses standing all day long eating. But they're not just eating and eating, they're actually working. So they're not getting as much food as you think they are, but they're constantly working for the food. So it's something that I like to do, and we drop a 900-pound bale, and if I'm lucky, we get about 7 days out of that.
Didn't change anything. Pull it. Just a little bit more. How's that? Yeah, that's good. So you hooked on? Yeah, I can get hooked on. Dad, I'm just playing with you. You did? It is.
Kurt came through like he always does. He had two really beautiful bales. So we've got two great bales that'll get us through 2 weeks. And two bales that actually had a little bit of mold on the bottom of them. So hay gets wet by sitting down, creates a little bit of mold, goes black, gets gushy and nasty. He gave us those two bales because it's really only good if someone's willing to pick through them and get the mold out. Now, most people aren't willing to do that, and I'm not willing to do that either. However, I have 3 boys who ride horses, and this is the feed for their horses. So guess what the job of those boys is gonna be, is they're gonna glove up, they're gonna get the pitchfork, and they're gonna tear all that mold out, and we're gonna dispose of it and burn it, and then we'll put the bale in, make sure the bale's clean and good, and then we'll feed the bale to the horses. So free hay is free hay. If it takes a little work, the boys may not like it. However, it gets us what we need. pick this guy up.
Did you get this one for free?
Yeah.
A little bit, huh? Dude, you can't have sick horses.
Hey, don't make a mess of it. Don't make a fool out of it. Hold it. Never mind. No!
So it never fails, nothing goes right, nothing's ever easy. Bought a bale and it wasn't the best bale and broke it open. Now we're moving it by hand, which I don't like to do. We like to just feed the big bale and make it easy. But we got it. Mold's out. May not have been worth a free bale, but then again, it was a free bale. Dennis Kirk comes through. I knew to get a Super E S&S. Got the carburetor, told me to get. Also got an anti-gravity battery from those guys, so thank you, Dennis Kirk. Literally ordered them 2 days ago. They're here. And we're going to get some installation going. We're going to get that carburetor put on. Thankfully, the guy that had the bike marked everything. I've already know that these carb bolts are going to fit. So we're going to get a carb installed. And we should be off to the races. So King Solomon, this is the original Velocity stack. I know that King Solomon did not have a Super E carburetor, and so of course the Velocity stack's not the right one. So I was hopeful that the same stack could go back on, but unfortunately bouncing to a Super E, the diameter is different. The Super E is actually larger than what was originally here. What's funny is I have the Velocity stack from the original carburetor, but the guy that sold me the bike didn't send me the carburetor. I don't know who takes the time to take a Velocity stack off of a carburetor and keep the carburetor and not keep the stack, unless I guess they don't like the stack. So we're gonna go back to what I was originally doing. We're gonna put this carb on without the stack, get ourselves a new stack, of course in brass to match, and then we'll go back and put that on. It's only 3 bolts, shouldn't be too difficult to put it on, but we'll get that mounted on there with the right one. I like to install these from the other side, but I like to be able to hold that carburetor in place and just get them finger tight before you go over there. Granted, you don't want to put a lot of tension on them, but just enough. Just like that, carburetor's on. One step closer with King Solomon, so we'll keep going and keep working. But we have a carburetor. Once I learn the history of this bike, I'm going to keep some things that are on the bike currently as they were. Regardless of history, maybe Rick's going to tell me he built the bike and he hated the guy he built it for. The guy was just a jerk. I don't care. It still is meant to be. So I think I'm going to go through this bike a little further in detail. Granted, I'm going to put my own spin on this bike, but I want to also make it so that it represents what it was. And to know, where you're going, you have to know where you came from. And to do that, I think this bike needs to keep some of the stuff that it came with. So not only am I going to keep this pinstriping on the magneto, but I'm going to keep the rear tail light. So the rear tail light is brass. And instead of polishing it to a shine like I've done everything else, I'm going to keep that dingy. And not dingy, but it's just patinaed. It's over time. Brass is going to do it. All the rest of the bike will eventually catch up to it. But I'm going to keep that part kind of as a keepsake again. Another little piece of King Solomon, looking back to where it came from as I'm headed forward. See, that's like deep now. That's like philosophical. But we're going to keep that rear bezel brass just as it once was, looking back to where it came from.
The only thing standing between you and the open road is some garage time with the right parts and accessories to make your motorcycle roar. And that's why riders everywhere choose DennisKirk.com. the one stop you need to get your Harley back on the road. Our knowledgeable tech staff will help you navigate our more than 185,000 parts, apparel, and accessories that are ready to ship today, with free shipping on all orders over $89. So tune up your ride and get ready for the next adventure. Ride more, wait less. Dennis Kirk.
In the last bike that I built my first time, I like trapped myself in this dungeon, if you will, for months and months on end trying to hit it, trying to get a deadline, trying to get the bike done. And this year I'm not going to do that. This build, I should say. I've got to better prioritize my time and spend it with my family. You know, you can't always just focus on motorcycles. Do I have a deadline? Yes, I do. Got to get the bike back on the road, got to get it done. But spending time with my boys to help them out in rodeo is amazing.
Okay, Hawk, your turn, bud.
I've been dubbed equine support, you know, I'm dad, right? So I gotta pay for it all, I gotta rope them, I gotta clean them, I gotta pay for them, we gotta feed them, and I'll continue to do it just to help my boys out, to give them the opportunity to enjoy it. As a father, we wanna give our kids more than we've ever had. And to take the time to come out here and help them rope, to coach them, to train them, to help them perform better in rodeos, it's rewarding. You know, it's fun to keep yourself, not only fun, but it's important to keep yourself balanced, to keep yourself centered in what's most important. And for me, it's, you know, it's my boys. It's living out here at Jack Wagon Ranch and showing them what it's like. And hopefully I can impress upon them and train them for the future. Got a package in. And being that it's from Florida is a good sign. I know exactly what this is. Okay, so I got a quick story time, right? Bought King Solomon. Guy told me that it was complete. Of course, as I went through it, it was completely on a pallet, right? But there was no tins. And called him, talked to him. He claims that he misplaced them and said that he would look for them, and I never heard anything since. And got a little package from him. So I'm not even gonna show anybody. The first person that has to see this is Rick. Rick still doesn't know the full story. So I'm gonna buy a plane ticket and I'm gonna use this as a peace offering. I think this is something that's sentimental. Rick should have this this part of King Solomon back. So I'm gonna book a plane ticket and head to Fresno, California. Kind of like my Zen cart. It's really cool to come in here and lay down clean lines and paths in here, knowing that I've wiped away the mistakes that the boys made today in here. You know, we had some misses, we had some mistakes, but after I groom, it kind of wipes it all clean. And I kind of look at this as like my life a little bit.